Are they going to keep it close? Machioli at the back of that drive by the USA. There's the ball. Now, if I was the Americans, I'd keep it really close here because they've got some real strength merchants in there. There's the number 17, the giant that is Machioli. Looking to go wide. Is there a gap in the England defence? Not at the moment. Certainly a good tackle coming in there from the former England skipper Martin Corey, but roll away, and they didn't, so they'll be penalised, and they'll have to go back another 10 metres. I think actually the referee there has been a bit short on the amount of distance he gave the Americans.
Well, they have to come 5 metres from the touchline, from the try line. Well, I wonder if they're going for a yellow card.
And who's he pointing at? Well, still out there, surely not. My goodness gracious me. Well, a bit of a sour note to end on for Lawrence Dallaglio, and a possible advantage here to the United States. Blake Burdett it is who starts off that move. The player's absolutely buried underneath there. The American feel as though they've got the initiative. I don't think there's any way that Sikia can go, but look at the big man. He's got it. That would be a real fillip to Matigatonga Mikiola for the United States. He'll be absolutely delighted. The former Tongan. And they have finished off with a real flourish, haven't they?
Well, they have, and they've worked really hard, and you have to say that they've deserved it. And they've pressurised England. The English defence, for once, not able to handle the big fella.
Well, that will certainly improve their confidence going into games number 2, 3 and 4. But when you go up against Ollie Barkley and you weigh close to 130 kilos, you know you've got an advantage. So the American coach there, Pete Thorburn, will be absolutely delighted. No drinks tonight, though, but I'm sure they'll have a little celebration.
Oh, you never know. He might allow them a beer.
So the captain. Scoreline hasn't been altered yet on our caption, but the captain here, Mike Hercus, for the extra 2, and in the end it's very simple. Cheers from the try scorer. It was a real bonus of those 7 points for the USA, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And well, I guess they're drawing the second half, aren't they?
Well, they are pretty much, yes. In fact, yes they are. It's exactly tied up for the second half, but there is the overall score. England 28, the USA 10. As the clock runs down, Lewis Moody is always great at kickoffs, but he couldn't quite get to that one. It was picked out by Ezekiel. Americans look a different side at the moment.
Well, they've been very competitive right the way through this match, and England really only have themselves to blame.
Well, Chad Erskine desperate to get on with the game, but was tripped over himself there. But the Americans still have possession. Drive on by England, but it didn't make any difference. That was spun away by Malifa. USA over the 10-meter line. Good tackling though, coming in from Matthew Tate. Jimmy Noon just on the far side. A steal for England now. Matthew Tate swings it across. A little bit scrappy there, but they'll have to come back for the knock forward.
Well, he'd just given England the advantage from the American knock on, and Ben Kay just couldn't quite hold it in the midfield. Not a great pass.
It's going to be very interesting, David, when the adjudicators at the ground here say who their man of the match is. Who would yours be?
Well, I guess Ollie Barkley has always threatened. He's had 1 or 2 breaks. He scored that nice try, and He's capable, but you know, for a fly half, they really need to be able to control a match. And he should have done much more kicking, I think, in the first half. Kept his forwards going forward, given them the platform to attack the Americans from. But as a consequence of not doing that, and not controlling the game, the Americans have been in it for the whole 80 minutes or so, and they're finishing very, very strongly.
They certainly are. So I haven't quite got the gist of this. Is he your man of the match, or isn't he? Or are you not going to commit yourself on this occasion?
I think you probably have to give Ollie Barkley the man of the match award, but you know, that's only because he's on the winning team. I mean, I think Asiki, apart from his yellow card, has looked very threatening in the midfield for America.
Well, safety first there for England. Left-footed down the field by that man. Andy Farrell plays for Saracens, of course. Interesting that he's only had 5. Been so much talk about Andy Farrell over the last couple of years, and of course he was injured for a long time. But at 1.95 meters and what, about 115 kilos body weight, he's some formidable force.
Well, there was always the big discussion: is whether should he play in the back row or should he play at centre? And
he's certainly a great thinker of the game. Good tactician. So America finishing the stronger, and they get a penalty. Surely they won't have a kick at goal. They will want the full 7 points. Just going to have a chat with Tom Rees there.
Well, I wonder if that's another fellow in the bin.
Multiple times. This is your last warning. It is towards the end of the game, so you'd be silly to give another one.
So a warning for the final time. The former England captain Martin Corey. There's certainly something you can't fault with Martin Corey is his work rate. So, the captain, Mike Hercus, trying to put this as far down the field in the corner as possible. Pretty good, halfway between the 22 and the goal line.
Well, you have to say that, you know, the Americans have won an awful lot of respect here in Lens from the French crowd. They're finishing the stronger of the two sides in many respects. And, you know, who wouldn't back them to score a try here just to put the icing on the cake? That's a bit worrying. You know, who wouldn't back them to score a try here just to put the icing on the cake?
That's a bit worrying as far as England are concerned, because it's times like this where matches are won and lost, and if it came to the crunch, you certainly would want the England team to be finishing the stronger of the two. But here go the USA. Good driving run there by Alec Parker. Oh, that was a bit scrappy. That was the flank forward, Todd Clever. Good breakout there by Ollie Barkley. Cueto, left-footed down the field. But, easily controlled there by Chris Wiles. Spun across. Right up to the far side. This guy can motor. Mwenya, buried underneath there for the USA. Just picked off his toes there by the captain, Hercus. And the next time the play breaks down, I'm sure the referee will blow his whistle. There is the try scorer stolen there by Martin Corey. Now, can England finish off with a flourish? George Shooter there. Out to Matthew Tate. Not particularly good passing by the English players. That was a terrible tackle. A terrible tackle. That's certainly one of the American players of the day, Paul Emmerich. But if we see a slow motion replay of that tackle again, and that is Ollie Barkley. So our choice as good as the IRB's. That was awful. That could have been a terrible accident. And surely that's going to be a red card.
Well, you certainly can't condone anything of that nature.
Well, it's only a yellow. Maybe there may be a citation after the game. We'll have to wait and see. But Ollie Barkley is back on his feet, looking a bit dazed though, and it's not surprising. I think if there is to be a penalty, England will be perfectly satisfied with kicking this ball out into touch, and we don't want to see that too many times again. So we get it twice in a row. And Paul Emerick has been one of the best players, but he really has disgraced himself there, and that will be the final whistle, surely. The time added on. Ollie Barkley certainly up for it. George Shooter getting ready to throw the ball in.
Well, this is extraordinary. The ball's gone out of play. It should be the final whistle. We had that extraordinary scenario in the RBS Six Nations last year with Wales and Italy when they kicked the touch. And obviously that stopped play with the clock up. But,
well, that was a beautifully worked line out between Ben Kay and George Shooter. Matthew Tate just brought down, and a drive on here by Farrell. Farrell just slips it outside. It goes back in, but couldn't quite get his hands to it. And good to see Farrell in full flow. Haven't seen that too many times this season wearing the England shirt. He certainly can motor for a big man. Good vision as well. Slips it outside to Josh Lucy. Lucy should really have done better.
Well, he didn't have much room to work in.
Big tackle coming in there by Michiola. England will push for all their worth on this one and try and make life as difficult as possible. Pete Richards getting stuck in on the far side. And Mr. Kaplan blows for a knock forward. That surely is it. That is the end of the game. 2 yellow-carded players off at the end of the first match in Pool A. A little bit of frustration on the face there of Andrew Sheridan, but on the positive side, England have won it by 28 points to 10, but certainly there will be an inquest into the world champions afterwards.
Well, the points may go to England, but I think the plaudits have to go to the USA. They've been tenacious, committed, courageous, and they've just, done extremely well. And well, you have to question England's tactics, perhaps their selections, but they certainly don't look like a side on today's evidence who are going to be capable of defending their World Cup trophy, the Webb Ellis Trophy.
Well, let's not write them off straight away. There is certainly a long way to go, and as we know, anything can happen. There are still some people even suggesting that France can still win the World Cup. But certainly Ollie Barkley there, the man of the match. And Mark Cueto and the rest of them will go back now for a well-earned rest. The most important thing as far as they are concerned was points on the board, and that is what happened. But as you say, plaudits to the Americans for the effort they put in. There's the final score. England 28, the USA 10. So England just waiting for the Americans to come off the pitch, and they will be applauded off, that is for sure. Interesting that all 22 players selected today got a little bit of a run out, and I think that was quite significant.
Well, I think it's important. I mean, the match was won by England. I think it was important for Ashton to see some of his other players. Perhaps look at his centre combination. Not entirely convincing, I don't think, with Mike Catt there. I mean, Mike Catt's been brought in to be the playmaker, to shape the game, but, he didn't do that with Barkley in the first half. They didn't dominate possession. They didn't dominate territory. Not in the way that they ought to have done. Consistently, they should have pinned the Americans back in their own half and just allowed the scoreboard to tick over, forced them to make mistakes. But, well, you have to give the Eagles credit.
I think that's possibly one of the USA's best ever international performances against one of the big five. New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, England, and let's say another at the moment, because France...
Scotland, you mean?
Of course, yes. That's silly of me. Lawrence Dallaglio there, who spent the last few minutes of the match in the sin bin. Simon Shaw substituted. Andrew Sheridan there right in the middle. Born in South Africa, but now semi-permanent fixture in the England shirt. But they've got so much strength on the bench as well. And we're yet to see the likes of Nick Easter, who is being talked about as a future England star. And Paul Sacchi, of course, the